Hey guys, Rick with That Is One Big Pile of Bricks, our amazing guest Miller and... Wait,
Oh, Geordi? Where is he?
where is Flash Jordan?
Maybe he'll be
Don't
here
have a
in
watch.
1
Oh,
second.
here he is.
Oh, here he is.
In a flash. Look at that. Bye, Caroline.
See ya.
Hello, everybody.
Miller, Jordan, how you guys been?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. What's been happening with you guys since the craziness of Lego Masters?
What hasn't been happening with us since the craziness of Lego Masters?
Well, I know, but they might not know, so...
It's been a while. I mean, like, you know, it was a long time ago that it came out, so there's a lot that's happened.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I've been working for Brickman for the last couple of years,
Wow,
and
cool.
recently ended that off and going off and doing other things.
Cool.
Working as a content creator for Light My Bricks.
That's
and
awesome.
That's the kind of more recent stuff, but yeah, a lot of things have been happening.
Things are changing. It's amazing. Like, what about you, Miller? You guys are now working together.
Yes. So I started as a product designer at Light My Bricks as well. So it's pretty awesome that we get to work together again. And yeah, I mean, I'm studying industrial design at the moment. Hopefully one day I get to work at Lego. That'd be pretty.
Well,
cool.
that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to Light My Bricks. We do sell them on our website. Cheaper than their website. So awesome.
But yeah, so yeah, I'm studying, loving that, and yeah, that's kind of.
It's been a crazy couple of years since the whirlwind of season 1.
It's hard to even know what's.
It's hard to really, take note of what's happened in the last, 2 or 3 years it's been now. Do you guys still get recognized in the street? Do you guys still get noticed by people?
Not as much.
I'd feel like I probably get recognized a little bit more just because I've gone back those couple more times and stuff like that. And like when I go down the skate park, that kind of a thing, I'll get swarmed by kids that recognize me, that type of a thing.
But you would be getting recognized too because Brickman released something called Brickfit, and you're in every single advertising on Facebook. It's amazing. You guys should buy it. What sort of product is it like, Jordan? You tell us what.
So Brickfit's pretty much just like it's a fitness app for kids where by doing fitness you unlock Lego builds, and there's some pretty cool Lego builds in there. There's some cool techniques and stuff like that.
Hashtag not sponsored, Brickman. You can afford it.
But yeah, it's just like it's a cool way for kids to get fit and play with Lego.
It's a smart way to get kids to exercise without having to force them to exercise.
Yeah, it's almost like an incentive. Like you're not exactly going to go out and reward your kids by giving them $1 to go for a walk or something, but it's something to say, okay, you've done some exercise, here's something fun that you can do at home afterwards.
That's pretty cool. So with everything that's happened in the last couple of years, do you guys have enjoyed being on Lego Masters? Do you regret going on Lego Masters?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Also,
no regrets.
My heart was
whatsoever.
like, wait, what? What's happening now?
No, absolutely no regrets. I mean, for me, obviously, I can definitely say that, like, if I didn't go on Lego Masters, I wouldn't have met Caitlin, and so that's...
So you guys, here's an inside scoop. They did kiss in the brick pit.
No, we didn't. Shout
Shout out to Caitlin.
They did
Yeah.
on the showroom floor though.
Yes, on the showroom floor. Yeah. But, yeah. I mean, if I didn't go on Lego Masters, then...
If you guys were asked to go back, would you go back?
It's a good question. I'm not really... I think it sounds like it would be a really cool opportunity to go back and... I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It was
for
a lot of
sure.
It was exhausting though.
It was exhausting. I mean, it's stressful and it's work, believe it or not, because, I mean, even though you're building Lego, it's, with the time pressure and all that sort of stuff, it's really hard. But at the end of the day, like, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, you have so much fun
Well,
when you're on there.
You guys came third, obviously. Do you think you built a better build than Dave and G? Shout out to Dave and G.
These are the loaded
You-
questions.
you're trying to get us to spill some tea over here.
Well, we have to know, like, who created... Oh, wait. We know about drama, but, like, what else on set, went down with everybody? Was it an amazing experience like it was, received on TV, or was there some behind-the-scenes stuff that made things a little bit spicy, a little bit uncomfortable?
I mean, we all know the real spice that happened. And there was there was
Carmilla, tell
Which spice you talking about, bros?
Caleb Billsy.
There's some flavour.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
that was-
I'm gonna try and get those two on a podcast together. I'm trying my hardest
Oh my
to get them in the
Lord.
same room, just because I would like to see how they interact with each other, and I
Yeah.
think people would enjoy seeing them together.
I'd like to see that too.
It's very hard. I'm gonna try, I'll
That's-
try my hardest.
That'll be tricky to do. for sure.
Well, I think
Yeah.
so. Just with everything that's gone down in the last couple of years, I think people carry emotions differently, I guess, and those two for some reason they're like firecrackers. So I reckon it'd be interesting to see them interact with each other.
Maybe that they've had a bit more time to calm down. And
I think so. And Kales, obviously he's been lucky enough, like you. He's not permanent like you on Lego Masters, but he's been lucky enough to go back for season 3. Like he got put on TV and he got to do his thing, but not as good as Jordy. Obviously, Jordy keeps going back. They obviously like him more than everybody else.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It's been fun. So you were clean at Jordy? Was that how'd you go? How was your steps?
Season 1 I went on as a contestant with Miller, and I couldn't be more thankful for Miller getting me to go on the show with him. And then from there it took off. They liked my whole running gag on season 1 where I just go and get bricks for Miller because he was a better builder at the time.
Those are fighting words, Miller.
We were talking about this the other day, and don't get
I
me
don't know.
started.
Like I've seen Miller's builds. Like, do you think Caitlin would be a better partner to build with than Jordan was?
I'm not going to make a comment on that because.
Well,
there are
we know they're building a relationship together, but we don't.
There's certain people in the room who would
Dan.
suffer emotionally from the truth that I would have to say.
He can think what he wants to think.
wait for a second. So just to touch on that, didn't Jordan last longer with the Brickman though? Like,
Yes, he did. He did. That being said, it's not like I was laid off. It was that I was just chasing bigger and better things, I suppose.
Each to their own. I'd say I've used my time at the Brickman to learn to become a much better Lego builder. And when you build Lego every day for best...
One second, how much is the Brickman paying you to give him so much praise to me?
Nothing. Everyone's got their differences with their boss, but I'd say overall he's been an incredible person to work for, and you've learnt so much in that experience.
Do you think because you were working with the Brickman, that's the main reason why they kept bringing you back on Lego Masters? Was it easier for them to reach out to you through that way?
I'd like to think I've got a separate relationship with the show than with Brickman, but I'd say it could have helped along the way, but I definitely think I've established my own relationship apart from Brickman.
I was going to say, I think we were talking about this the other day, about who would be a better contestant on Lego Masters these days. And I think Geordi would genuinely be better on the show than me these days, given the fact that he's got more experience with the sort of builds that Lego Masters is looking for.
Yeah. And also the time pressures. So, I believe...
He's used to building...
time pressures on the Brickman. Obviously, everything's constrained because everything needs to be done yesterday and not today, obviously. And, when you're building something massive, you got to be quick, right?
Yeah, when you're building something like a giant scale dinosaur or literally anything, it could be a car, you've got only so many hours to build it. And when you've done a lot of just figuring out how long something takes out to build, it's a lot more of just okay, you can only realistically build a tree this big in 8 hours. And if you're doing your 24-hour challenge or 28-hour challenge at the end of the show, I think having that experience would be invaluable because you can just realistically estimate, okay, with 2 people, you've got, 56 hours. You can only build something relatively this scale without, going over what's possible.
Well, and also too with the Brickman, you have to glue as you go, right? So you got to make sure it's particular and glue as you go.
It's a very different process because their models are made to travel the world and to be really strong.
Looks suspiciously inappropriate
for public interaction.
That looks very suspiciously inappropriate. I'm just going to put that out there. See, you know what I'm talking about. Did you build this, Jordan? Because I feel like this is some sort of joke.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to play Devil's Avocados on this one.
Do you guys think that the Lego Masters experience made you guys closer as friends? Or did you think that it Because it's a high pressure environment.
That's actually a really, really good question. And like we've done a lot of like things in the past, like media stuff, and I don't think that's probably one of the best
don't think
questions.
that's ever come up.
I think that's one of the best questions. That's really hard.
It's like in some ways for sure we've gotten a lot closer because like we lived together for a couple months while we were filming. We really got to like know each other a lot better in those regards. But we've been best mates since we were like 12.
Because you guys did Scouts, is that right, together?
Yeah,
That's how we met. Yeah.
So we've been really close the whole time. Like we'd go over to each other's houses for summer holidays and just like go back and forth, that kind of a thing. So it's not like we haven't spent lots of time together before, but after the show, I think our relationships developed into something that like, because we're now adults and we have to do more things, it's like, it's enabled us to have a relationship more often outside of our regular life's responsibilities.
Yeah, and I think it also it's a tricky one because we, believe it or not, we have grown up since the show a lot. And when the show first came out, we were
I think the age was wrong on the TV as well.
It was wrong for me. It wasn't wrong for Geordi, but it was wrong for me.
Yeah.
Because I turned 20.
Yeah, because I was my own cool 19-year-old dude.
Yeah, that's right. But we were, I'd say, a lot less mature during that time. And I think we've grown up a lot since then, and our lives have become a lot busier, just as lives do. So I'd say in that sense, we've grown apart physically. But
we also live on other sides of the city.
Yeah, lots changed, right? Because you got to remember too that like a lot of people who are not aware, obviously Jordan and Miller both went to work with Brickman, and Miller moved along because Miller's an amazing dude, and he's like, bye Brickman, see ya. And Jordan stayed along, but I think, with the life and uni and things change, right? And especially Lego Masters Season 1, nothing will change how like massive it was for everybody. Without Season 1, Caroline and I wouldn't be able to do a podcast right now. Like, it's massive. It's been huge for everybody that's been involved, including you guys. Jordan's been on nearly every season. We might see him on Season 4, I think it's the next one. Season 4, we might see him on Season 4, you don't know. But, like, also, too, you're doing your uni stuff. You're obviously designing for Light My Bricks. Like, a lot's changed, but I think for you guys, the best thing that could come out of it, you're now going to work again together. Like, you're going to be back sort of close, I think, better than being apart and doing other things. And
that's true.
When you grow up, you realize that you're not a bike ride away from each other's houses. So you got to find new ways to develop your relationship and still like hang out even if it's just at work, but you just find a way to work together or whatever it may be.
So if they asked you to go on, I don't know, say they do an All-Star series, would you guys go?
I would say probably.
It depends on the circumstances.
Wait, Jordan's technically a Channel 9 employee now with the amount of times he's been on Lego Masters.
That's the thing, isn't it? I think it's a hard one, to be honest, because I don't even know if Jordy would be allowed to be a contestant.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But now it might be different. Now you no longer work with Brickman.
It's up in the air. Like, I feel like I could definitely go on as a builder again, but I'd like to think that my relationship with the show and stuff like that has kind of gone past that, where I'm not just being a contestant anymore. I'm more seeing the other side of things and that kind of a deal. Because
you're studying film and television, obviously that's what you're studying. Your plans in the future to try and get work behind the scenes with Lego Masters, if it's still around by then,
Look, I definitely love everyone on the crew there, and there's definitely opportunities there if I want them, I'd like to think. And in the future, sure, I'd work behind the scenes on Lego Masters, but it's just a case of like, see where the career goes. I'll work in front of the camera, behind the camera, wherever my skills are needed.
It'd be interesting to see if they decide now, the world's going to get better. So to see if they were planning on doing, I know they were planning on doing an all-star season overseas. It'd be interesting to see if you guys got the call to go overseas. That'd be amazing.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Look,
I never even thought about that.
We're both going to take a free ticket anywhere. Let's be honest.
So the rumor I heard, and it was pretty valid, is that they built a custom Lego Masters studio at the Lego house. And they were going to do All-Stars worldwide there.
Well,
that's the rumor I heard through the system.
invite us.
That would
like-
be so cool.
Yeah, how cool would that be?
Yeah.
Free trip to Denmark. Like,
Yeah, far out.
I mean, not only are you going to film Lego Masters at Lego House, but you're just going to Lego House. That's cool enough in itself.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a pretty cool experience. Caroline and I visited the build, like the set, I guess, I don't know, the building before it was finished. We haven't been able to go, obviously, with everything that's going on, but I'd like to go back and check it out. Obviously not with Brickman, because you'll get swamped by, like, fans, but, it'd be good to check it out and see what happens. With season 1 just airing in the UK, it's the first time. It's only taken them a couple of years. They must have shipped it over by boat to show your show over there. Have you guys had many interactions with UK fans now?
No.
I get messages all the time from like people.
Because I think it just
all over
finished.
the
I think
world.
season 1 finale just aired like recently.
Yeah,
right.
like I had some people message me from the UK the
Wow,
other
cool.
day, and just like sending through appreciation, just being like, "We love the show. Thanks for being bubbly and stuff on it." And like, it's really cool to see that. Yeah, sure, we may be kind of starting to be a little less relevant here, but we're still being shown all
I don't
around
think
the
so.
world.
I think out of
and-
every season, and we've touched on this with Maddie and Jimmy, I think with every season, a lot of people, the last 2 seasons, there's been a pandemic going on. So it's been crazy, and no one's really been focused on it, what's been happening on TV, right? But with season 1, you guys came out the peak. It was like the perfect time. We had the meet and greets at the store, which was absolutely bananas. But, I think you guys still carry a weight behind you, and I don't think you guys actually realize how much of credit you guys are to the show. You guys added a lot of value to the show, and I don't think you guys understand that. Like
I think
in my opinion, anyway. Like,
it could be the same as like you get your classic MasterChef. Everyone remembers that first season with like Poe and all the other contestants because it's that standout first time you really get to experience this. And we all brought our own things to the table, and every season's different.
but
and
you guys had a relatively positive reception from
Oh yeah.
fans being on the show. Like,
Yeah.
you guys remember the meet and greet we did at the store?
Yeah. It was amazing.
That
It
was
amazing.
crazy. Like, that was a lot of people.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
a crazy amount of people, but it was
that was a
fun.
fun day. Yeah.
The months after the show aired were just insane for us, really. Like we were getting recognized and all that sort of stuff, and it was something that I don't think either of us really expected to come from a show where we're building Lego. And
Well, I guess when you're applying for a show about Lego, you're like, what's this about? Because it was new, right? And,
yeah.
Yeah.
And the one in
Especially
the
being
UK is
first
kind of
season.
lame. Sorry, but it's kind of lame, the first one. So, like, you go, is it going to be like this? What's it going to be like? I think everyone had that. Everyone I've interacted with anyway, majority of people have been like, oh, I didn't know what it was going to be about. And it exploded into this massive thing. And I don't think at the time the company behind the show understood how much value you guys held. Because when I was emailing them, I'm like, hey, they're like, you want to do meet and greets? I'm like, yeah, I do. And they're like, oh, okay. We're now, as the show's progressed, contracts are stricter. They're not allowed to do many meet and greets. They can't really do anything because the show doesn't want them engaging, I guess, outside whatever contracts they have going on.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got their own things going on and stuff like that. But I think one of the things that really set us apart is we had that bit more freedom when we didn't know what the show was. Like, I remember when Miller first told me that about the show, he like was scrolling on Instagram and scrolled past it because you see an ad for a thing on TV and it's like, oh yeah, sure, but then you don't actually know what it is because it's the first time it's ever come out.
It was a really like Microsoft Word looking ad as well. So I was like, there's no way
You say
that's
that, but
real.
you know it's funny? The show hires these, like, I don't know, talent scouts or whatever they call them. Every season, it's like 15 different talent scouts. Like, hey, you want to be on Lego Masters? I'm like, do you not interact with the team?
With
Like,
each
what's?
other.
Do you guys not talk to what's going on? And I know some of the previous contestants have been reached out again. Like, hey, you want to be on the show? They're like, I was on last season.
Really?
Yeah, and it's happened with. I think it happened with Cade. Like Cade with season 2, they reached out with him.
I think it happened to Cade and I think it also happened to Gus. So
Oh
they're
my god!
both winners. Like,
Imagine
maybe-
reaching
maybe
out to
let's-
Cade
let's
and being
figure out
like,
the winners
"Hey, we're
first."
looking for people for season 2," and Cade's like, "Hey, I won season 1."
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh my god!
I
How
mean,
nuts is that?
I'll take your money again. Like,
Yeah.
But do you guys think that with the with the challenges of the builds and stuff that's advanced over the time of Lego Masters, do you think you guys would go as far as you did now?
That's tricky. Like,
Because I believe the challenges are getting harder because they're trying to push themselves, right?
yeah, for sure. And the builders are just getting better as well. Like, I think Oh, it's a tough one. 'Cause
It's
there's-
like a whole new generation of Lego builders has kind of sparked out of Lego Masters.
and
So
everybody builds differently, so it's kind of hard because you see people like David and Gus who
Yeah.
their stuff was just absolutely amazing. If we were to be building against them, it's not like we would win, that's for sure. Because
Well, and I find it interesting too because with I think it was season 2, they had a Star Wars episode. Like,
we were
yeah,
so
we were-
jealous.
we were so jealous. Like,
I just it blows me away that it took them a whole season to be like, hey, we should try and do Star Wars.
Well, no,
like,
because the thing is that in the first season, we in the movie build, it was actually a really cool thing that happened in the movie build. What they didn't show on TV was they were like, okay, so you have to build a scene from a movie.
yeah.
Jordy and I ran back to the table, and we didn't talk about it. We just looked at each other and both exactly the same time, like it was magic.
it was one of those moments.
Exactly. We were both just like trench run, like from Star Wars. It would have been
Oh
so
my
cool.
God.
It's a very iconic scene.
And it would look so amazing on camera too, right? When they run the camera down there.
Exactly. But we couldn't do it because it was licensed. And at the time of season 1, Endemol was owned by Fox, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, and then they got purchased by Disney.
And then they got purchased by Disney. So
Yeah.
that's why they could do it in season 2.
And someone corrected me recently on one of Bill's stream. It sold again, so Disney no longer own it now. It's owned by some other
Really? There
who,
you go.
who knows what
Because
direction.
Endemol hasn't made a profit for like 20 years. It's not doing so well. So I think they just buy it, and they're buying because it's not necessarily about making a profit. It's about how much content you can sell, right? So if you buy Endemol as a brand and they own like 300 seasons of Lego Masters, imagine how much that's worth for reruns, right? So you're selling the content along.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because I think if Disney owned it, you guys would be on Disney Plus.
That'd be
That
cool.
would be so cool.
How cool would that be?
That
How
would
many
be really
millions of people would see you on Disney
Yeah.
Plus? Like,
That'd be dope.
it'd be amazing. And obviously, is there anything you guys regret from your time being on the show? Anything that was brought up at the time that you guys are not happy about? I know it's a while ago. It's a couple of years ago now. It's a long time to remember. Lots
Look,
changed.
I'd say some of the jokes that I've played in the last couple of years have been a bit on the nose. But like when we were contestants, I think everything was like very, very like straightforward.
Yeah.
Like the producers might try to get a bit of a funny jab or something out of you, but they never really try to twist you beyond like what you actually would say in real life situations and stuff like that. So I feel like I don't regret anything that they portrayed me in any light or anything like that.
I think and I said this to Maddie, I think season 1, with the exception of a few people, is one of the seasons that there wasn't really any issues, like really no drama behind the scenes. I think that most of what was made it to TV. It was touched on recently in a later podcast, as you will see, is that one of the contestants said to me that if you looked at the season 3 reel, there's a couple of episodes, if you watch the whole episode, they're wearing different clothing.
Really?
So they've like chopped stuff
That's
to get.
interesting.
Yeah, so if you pay attention, I don't know what episode it is, I've got to look it up, but they've like chopped it together and it looks like they're under pressure when they're really not. Like they've mixed.
yeah, right.
Yeah, which is really weird, which blows me away that they sort of went like, but no one picked it up in the editing bay. Because you guys obviously are aware that Lego Masters likes to leak who's going to win weeks in advance in their TV advertising. So
Yeah.
the editing crew
if you watch it properly, you could probably
you can pick it
pick
straight
up
away.
who the
Like,
winners are.
and they just
100%.
they show so much of the show in the lead time, which surprises me considering
We were really sorry to interrupt.
No,
we
no,
were
go ahead.
Really, really disappointed with that. Obviously you have to advertise the show.
Yeah.
But we were so bummed out by how much they showed in the advertisements because we were like, we want people to see,
Well, and also too, I believe you guys were watching it with people, so you want to experience those emotional moments you guys had on the show with your friends and
Exactly.
family. that
yeah,
are
for
really, right?
sure.
Because that's where Caroline and I actually met you guys, was at the season 1 finale at Legoland
Yeah,
Discovery
that's
Centre.
right. Yeah.
And that was such an emotional experience. And like Caroline and I felt for you guys. We were like, because you're in a room with 100 people you don't know, and you get announced your third, and you guys were aware, obviously, because but it's been a couple, 2 or 3 months between, whatever, and it's like, it must bring back all this raw emotion, like.
A little bit, yeah. And it was also, there were so many things that like didn't make it to the the final edit as well, you know. So there were things where we were like, oh, you know, if we had have done this differently, or if we had have not listened to this advice, maybe we could have done better. Or
I think one example that springs to mind with that is on our final build. Like we had lighting that we'd used and fully installed, like the proper Lego lighting. Whoops. And we told one person on set how to turn it on, but it never actually got turned on for when all the judging and everything was happening.
Wow.
So it wasn't a massive thing. Like, I don't think it would have made a change in the results, but it's little things like that that might get over.
Maybe if you guys had access to green bricks, if some certain contestants didn't use them all, you might have had access to different color bricks in your build. Maybe that might have helped.
I don't want to say too much because I don't want to like cross any lines, but
and also too, it's not about bagging out other people, right?
Yeah,
like,
but there were. I remember in the first episode, I was kind of like, I kind of forgot that Brickman was the judge, and I was like, and I didn't take his advice. If you remember,
really didn't take his advice.
I wasn't listening to him. I was like, oh, you know, because he was like, you guys need to go taller, and we were like, well,
did that
I was
make
like,
it to air?
It did.
Yeah.
I was like, well, we don't need to go taller because it wasn't in the brief, and like, you know,
I'm sure that went down like a lead balloon with the good old Brickman.
The funny thing, and the thing is, that it took me so long to realize. I was like, you know, he's the judge. Like, what he says goes, right? Like, if he says build taller, you know, if he says jump, you say how high.
Well,
know?
That's right. Do you think
you build to his brief?
But also, do you think the producers are in his ear saying they need to go bigger and better?
Probably. I don't know, but.
Jordan might know a bit more, but Jordan might not be allowed to say.
In my experiences, they don't do that to him. Like, from what I can tell, they 100% just, they let him judge and he will give his opinions. Like, I don't know anything else other than that.
I find it
like,
interesting that they didn't bring in a second judge for the last 2 seasons. Obviously, you know, the world's been a bit weird, so they couldn't really, I guess. But I just find it interesting that they went from a 2-judge model for the finale, and then season 2 cut it down to 1. I just find it a bit, I don't know. Maybe it's Lego constraints, maybe? I don't know.
It could be anything there. Like, I think one of the big things is people didn't have enough time to connect with Fenella. Like, it's all good and well to get in another Lego expert to be a judge, but at the end of the day, you're just bringing in someone who could literally just be brought off the street for what most people know.
Is it hard too to like lock down a Lego designer for 3 months in another foreign country?
Yeah, like
I guess they do. They do it with the
US
US now, though, right? So maybe they can manage over Zoom or whatever and do like emails back and forth or whatever. But
it would definitely add a whole another layer of complications to the process.
Well, do you guys think that you guys would come back for a finale special where you guys joined up with other teams and sort of like did a group build together against each other, maybe for season 5 when it's like the big, because it might go to 20 seasons, we don't know, like
who knows.
I don't know.
Like I'd love to do a big group build with everyone. Like, that would be a super fun idea if they just brought together a whole heap of the old teams and we got to build something cool. But like, at the end of the day, they got to keep it in that competition show model.
I wonder if the format has to be stuck to a certain brief. Like, if you look at every Lego Masters around the world, even China, I think premiered recently, it's all the same format. Maybe that's the brief they're being given by the Lego group to be like, you need to stick to this. And you can't go too far off the page for that, maybe.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Because I always thought when they were announcing season 2, I thought it would be amazing if they got, you guys, Dave and G, Henry and Cade back for the finale, and you guys build with those teams to compete against each other to win. Like, I thought that would have been a great idea, something different.
I think it would be just really cool to have like contestants back as guest judges.
I'm surprised they didn't. I'm surprised they didn't bring Henry and Cade for season 2. I was like, but I guess maybe they just want a clean slate, like they do with MasterChef. I guess they want a clean slate either in season.
I guess you don't want to have people who are joining into like season 3 going, well, I didn't watch last season, so I've got no idea who these people are.
Okay, that makes sense.
That could be a thing.
Yeah,
maybe.
Everyone still needs to be relevant in the general eyes of the public.
But then again, like, if that was the case, then they wouldn't have, Geordi back, or they wouldn't have Kale back. So,
what did you guys think of the Kale episode? You were on it, obviously, but what do you think?
I thought it
Did
was
you
pretty-
wait?
I
Did
thought
you
it was
watch it,
pretty cool.
Miller? Just check.
Yeah,
Ask
yeah,
you,
yeah.
Did you actually
Yeah.
watch it?
Did I watch it? don't know.
Well, I thought I better ask
I,
first.
I would have made you
Yeah.
watch it.
I thought it was pretty cool.
Do you think they were making fun of Kale for the expense of Kale?
Yes and no. I think I mean, yes, I do think that, but at the same time, in this one, Kale knew what he was getting into.
Yeah, I think too, and he was pre-prepared, right? And I don't think
Like Kale, obviously, like any of us, didn't know what to expect with the first season. But if he was getting called back for something like that, you could. I have no doubt that he knew what he was.
I
getting
actually had a full chat to him about it, and he was like, yes, he might have had a bad experience being a contestant on season 1, but at the end of the day, like the opportunity to go back on a show to promote yourself, promote your business, because he runs his own small business, it's great. And like,
because he sells prints and stuff, right? That's what he does now.
yeah, he sells prints, he builds Lego. I'm sure he does a lot of other things too, but like at the end of the day, it's a really cool way to get your name and your face out there. So I think he probably set some rules with them and was like, I don't want to be.
Do you think his experience is because it was created a pressure cooker environment on purpose?
I think different people are going to react to a pressure like that differently. And Kale is a great person, but when you get put in that kind of environment, it's a lot at once all the time.
Well, they're working
And-
you guys hard, right? 18-hour days. After all, you forget the cameras and mics there, right? Like,
yeah. But also, I think like, and I say this to a lot of people as well. Like, I genuinely think that, like Jordy just said, I genuinely think that Kale is a good person. Like, I think he's got a good heart and everything like that. But I think what happened with the show was that I think he just went in there with, and like for somebody like us, we were nobodies. We didn't know, but he had
you're
a
somebody
following.
to me, Miller.
Thanks, man. But he went in there with something to prove, and that was where it became an issue, because I think he went in there with like, you know, I have to prove that I'm a good builder, and in order to do that, I need to win and build these incredibly gigantic, you know, structures and all that sort of stuff. And so, he was just in that environment trying to prove himself, and it wasn't really translating
think
because
he's-
nobody really cared what. Nobody really cared who he was. It was like everybody was like, no. What am I even saying? It's hard to put it into words. But it's like
I
nobody cared.
understand what you're getting.
Nobody cared who any of us were. It was like, we just want to see what you build, and it's for a competition. Whereas
Yeah.
he was like, I want to build the greatest thing ever, and the biggest thing ever, and all that sort of stuff, but not necessarily actually fit to the brief. And and that's where he went wrong. That's absolutely where he went wrong, and that's part of the reason.
I
why
actually
he was eliminated.
generally feel bad for him because, like, I don't think anyone understands the weight of social media and how much words can hurt you. Like, it's like, you know, it's bad. Like some of the stuff that was said
brutal.
to him, it was brutal. Like, you know, Cal and I might not see eye to eye from, you know, every now and then, but that's people, right? Sometimes you're not going to gel. But I don't think it was very fair the way he was handled from a editing point of view, and I think the general public don't understand that it's not like a podcast where you're rarely editing it. It's they're chopping and changing and editing things.
That being said, I don't think it, like, with the show, and I can't speak for the other seasons, but as somebody who was on the first season, I experienced everything there. And while there were things that were cut out, while there were things that were cut out, there wasn't anything that was put in, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like everything that happened like that, all that drama happened like that. So
There was a lot of drama behind the sines.
yeah, there wasn't, I would say that
I
editing,
obviously don't want you guys
the
getting into
editing-
trouble, so
yeah.
you guys
But
just, you know, obviously
it's-
with the team behind the show and stuff, if there's something you can't touch on right now, I would.
No,
I would say this. The editing wasn't flattering for him, but honestly, I don't think that there was a way that the editing could have been flattering.
That's fair. Like,
It's a good way to put
and I think too. Everyone gets heated in the moment. Sometimes you do things and you say things you regret. and a big part of growing is trying to fix and make amends, I think. And I think it's pretty hard for him because he was bottlenecked into the position for one of the biggest TV shows in Australia. You guys are still, no one's bet's even won ratings, right? It's massive. And I think it's hard when that many people see you in that light, and then you're getting kids on Instagram being like, blah.
Yeah.
And I generally feel for him because there's no backup plan to stop it from happening. You can't stop the hate. Like, it's just going to happen, right?
Yeah.
We get it all the time. It's just the way it is with social media.
Yeah.
But I do feel for him, and I would like to get him on and pick his brain and just see how he's going and seeing how he's,
how he dealt with it as well.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to see how he handles it, right?
Because I know there was stuff that he posted on Instagram in response to it, and what I would love to know is like how he feels about that now. Like
I think I'm gonna reach out to him like later. You guys will probably see. I'm gonna try my hardest to try and get him on and see if I can pick his brain, because I just want to see how you handle something like that and how much negativity. Because it was like a freight train. Like, we had to block the word kale on our social media because I was like, this is bad. Like, and even if you don't get along with somebody, you still don't want to see the certain comments. And some of them are kids. You're like, whoa, dude, chill out. Like,
it's very easy for people to just type something on a computer and not realize the consequences that it has for the person on the other end. And
the other thing is, this is the most horrible thing about it, is that anybody who has had anybody in the world, doesn't matter, you can get 1,000 comments or 999 comments of praise, but the one comment of criticism is always the one that's going to stick with you.
It's always that one. There's all that, I call it the stinger, right?
Yeah,
it's like a bee sting. You could be having an awesome day and then you get that one bee sting and it just ruins the rest of your day.
So what happens when the 999
is against you, right?
Yeah.
It's just going to be very interesting. Hopefully he'll come on and have a chat, and I'd like to just pick his brain. Because I think people would like to see him after Lego Masters, because obviously he's had much more positive experience now being on the recent season, Well, thanks for joining us, Jordan and Miller. It was an amazing chat. We could chat for hours. But
I know.
We could
just keep going. We could just keep going. So we might. I think what we'll do is, I think at a later date we'll get you guys back on and we'll pick your brains a bit more. Make it a number 2 later down the track, because I think we could talk for hours about stuff.
Yeah, we really could.
And I think it'd be an interesting intake to see how things have changed, because you guys obviously working together now, and I think it's amazing. But yeah, thanks for joining us, Jordan Miller.
Thanks for having us.
So much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.